Boys have been getting the high scores all day, Ronnie.
They have, yeah. 8.5s getting thrown out for turns alone, and I'm expecting some big numbers to drop in this heat. Matt Wilkinson, who set the world on fire during the Australian leg this season, is up against Nat Young, who's battling for requalification, and the current Vans Triple Crown ratings leader, Frederico Morais, who has locked in a spot on the championship tour for next season. A couple of waves ridden during the break, and Nat Young has moved into the lead.
Yeah, a couple of quick waves. This north swell direction backdoor turns into a rippable wave. It turns into a wave that you can perform on and actually hit the lip. It's not as hollow as traditional backdoor wave. And so there's just so many different looks to this wave right here. This bit of reef, you know, different swell directions, it behaves differently. So today it's game on. It's all about, you know, getting the fins free, even the odd air out there. So not a great start for Nat Young, but just getting the feet in the wax, Ronnie.
Such a unique position for Nat to be in this time of the year. He's had so many strong finishes, and this heat is crucial for him, as we see. Morais up at the moment. Just that trademark power on display for that first turn. This wave dying off a little, but it's going to regain a bit of punch on the inside here. And just as he's done all winter long, he just gets that solid finish. Such a reliable competitor.
He waits for that wave to stand up, and as soon as that wave is ready for him, he smacks it. So you can see right here, biding his time, waiting for that perfect section, and he gets it. That's the form of a beautiful carve right there. So a nice wrap for Frederico. So again, just waiting, Ronnie, not forcing anything. And again, perfect little snap, throwing some spray, and then good connection on that closeout re-entry. So that's the reason why he's so consistently delivering 7s and 8s first year out.
Already has that little bit of confidence from some CT experience over there in Portugal as a wild card, making the quarterfinals.
One's throwing a 25th away at this point. Kanoa Igarashi is one of the rare guys it's not.
Here we go. Morais keeping busy in that position of no priority out there, and it might pay off for him. Gets a nice little fin drift there. First wave came through at a 4.17.
But that is beautiful tail release. Just a setup snap, but again, just watch how money this turn is right here. Right on the button. That was beautiful. Again, not going to be a keeper score, but the board's looking nice.
Every heat that Frederico progresses through, the closer he is to a Vans Triple Crown title. That could be the first for Europe. An amazing run he's had here, thinking that he was a pretty long way from qualifying when he arrived on the North Shore. Here we go. This is Nat Young. At a 2.77 on his first wave. Nice steep section there. A series of turns, but I don't know how happy Nat would be with that ride. There was a lot of opportunity, and it just didn't really seem, Ross, like he got the opportunity to get upside down.
So we'll see how impressed the judges are, and they want to see you really go for it to get a big score. But nice flow. You know, I like the flow here. He didn't catch any rails. It was pretty clean. There's the 2 for 1. So he went for a carve so he could fit one more quick re-entry before the wave closed out. So the argument here is, should he have waited and went for a huge closeout re-entry and maybe busted the fins free? There's the quick little snap before the closeout re-entry. That's the section you beg for as a competitor, that little crumbly left coming at you.
The guys sat for too long, and then they got out of rhythm, so pretty lucky.
And then, you know, Philip Toledo became a dad earlier this year. Yourself, you're expecting a baby girl. So how has, you know, your priorities changed in life, knowing that there's a couple new chapters coming along?
It changed a lot, you know. It means so much for me to have a family, and right now I have something to fight for. So I'm pretty excited, and let's see if the waves show up, and I want to get better before I go home.
We're so excited for you. Can't wait to see what you do in round number 3. Well done. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rosie, and congratulations to the Pupo family. A new addition on the way in 2017. But right now the goal is to crack a few more heats here at the Billabong Pipe Masters. We saw a couple of waves ridden during the interview for Championship Tour victories. Well, here goes Nat now. Let's see if he can get a bit more aggressive on this ride. Unfortunately for Nat, that first section flattens out a little bit, but he's loading up with speed now and opts to kick out and get back to that position of priority.
So I don't blame Nat for kicking out. He's like, well, I kind of squandered this wave here. Wow, upside down. How good is this wave, Ronnie? for Wilco. It just looks like it's designed for his type of surfing. A couple of smooth snaps there. That was a tough section to land there and actually got the best of him. But again, I would not be surprised for Wilco to throw a couple of big scores in this heat. But this guy's going to be consistent, isn't he? He's not going to fall. That wave, not really cooperating, and just a messy end section there for Frederico. But so far in this heat, Ronnie, low scoring affair. That was a big wake-up call for a lot of talent on tour. We'll get back to that.
Here goes Wilco now. Let's see if that backhand can get working again. Tricky section to read, that first one. Does reasonably well to get these first two turns executed. At a 3.87 on his last ride. Here goes the surfer from Portugal. Nice solid hit there. Two decent turns. A few lumps there through that mid-section of these rides at the moment. If you can get through it and get a big end section turn done, you're going to score pretty well. Frederico is trying to improve on a 3.63 at the moment.
Frederico just did, but you're going to save, potentially at 60 seconds, and that could be crucial.
Well, Fred seemed to do a lot better than Pete, but we'll check up and make sure Pete's all right in a second. We've got Nat Young up with a nice looking section here. He just winds through a couple of backhand carves. He really wants an oncoming ramp to hit, and he does that. Drifts that tail free, but just falling at a really, really critical point there.
And you said in your profile piece that having this injury, you wouldn't take it back for the world. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned sitting out on the couch and just recovering and getting back into competition?
Yeah, just gratitude really, and just being so lucky to have this as my job. And
I'm sure he's going to give things a good run next year. You'll definitely be in line for one of those wild cards, you'd think. As we see, Matt Wilkinson during the interview had this wave. It's a very close heat, this one, Ross. No one's really kind of put their hand out and tried to grab it just yet.
Yeah, I agree. It just hasn't had, a couple of heats ago, Julian Wilson had a wave that served up two, actually it was even three nice sections, and that's the difference,
Just under 10 minutes to go, we'll update you on the situation in the lineup in just a moment, but we're looking forward to seeing these young guns join the tour next season. Round one win would make life a lot easier, but he's got a couple of tough rivals here. Nat Young during the break had his best wave, and it looks like he's going to get himself into the lead.
Wow, look at the size of this thing. Way overhead for Nat and upside down. The judges will like that, a little bit of commitment. There's a second section. See if he can get a third in, and he gets a climb in, Ronnie. That was, not the prettiest move you've ever seen, but...
And he was well rewarded. 6.6, and some decent numbers starting to trickle through now. Matt Wilkinson's in second. Frederico Morais is back in third now, chasing a 6.6. Crown on the line.
Right.
Here we go. Morais takes off, drops to the bottom, a steeper wall to work with, and maybe some opportunity to get a bigger score on the board. First turn, he falls out of the sky. Another powerful hit on the second move, and now just looking to finish this thing off. And that felt nice, but Nat Young, a far more critical turn there as he brings this one through to the inside, hoping for more. Loading up. It just feels like he's building a bit of confidence with a bit of rhythm going his way now in this heat. But Wilco doesn't need a lot to turn this one. You can see there's just that little flat section before that oncoming left-hander gets to these competitors, and driving up into it is sometimes really difficult. They get into these championship tour events, and it's something they got to watch, Ross, when they do join the tour full time.
I totally agree with you, Ronnie, but I will say that hasn't been his MO throughout the Triple Crown. The guy's just an absolute wave magnet. So he's got that. It reminds me a lot of Kanoa Igarashi and Italo Ferreira. For someone who's kind of a rookie, they make perfect decisions. Wow, that was the epitome of a square snap there from Nat Young. But kind of just the one move. Let's see if he adds anything to it. A little snap. There's that oncoming section that you mentioned, Ronnie, kind of flat right there. So it didn't give him that extra speed he needed to really smash that last move. This looks like it's going to be the biggest score of that exchange. Really committed in that first turn, air dropped out of it, and then a nice connection. He had just a little extra flow from that closeout re-entry. So, wow, and there's a big number.
8-point ride for Frederico Morais, and he jumps from third into first. He's plays on the championship tour. Richard Dogmarsh was celebrating in a big way. Thought he was going to tear his face off
He was
so
psyched.
amped. But this heat has come to a close, and we are still waiting on numbers for Nat Young and Matt Wilkinson. And we'll see if it's going to turn this heat. But Frederico fetching that big 8-point ride to get himself into the lead. He might just hang on to it too.
So just the one move gave a 5.8 for him. So we're waiting for this score right here, Ronnie.
Yeah, well, Matt Wilkinson picked off a pretty nice little bowling wave in the beginning, but it did have just that flat piece of water before the oncoming left-hander, and he wasn't really able to dig into it the way he probably would have liked. So the judges having a good look at the damage he did on the outside.
Just a little wide, you know, so he maybe missed the very first section. So now he's in the middle of the wave, and he has to get to work quick. And that's the second turn, upside down, Wilco style. Quick little pivot right there. And a closeout Ranchi, what'd he get?
He got himself a 7.07.
Wow.
And that was enough to see Matt Wilkinson into the lead ahead of Frederico Morais and Nat Young, who now has to surf his way out of round 2.